lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ eléyìí tó ní agbára ò torí gbàǹkangbì náà lélẹ́yìí ẹ ti mọ̀ pé tí ẹ bá ti rí mi lórí ìkànnì ICN TV ó ń gbóná fẹlifẹli ni eléyìí tó gbóná ó ń ṣe yàjóyàjó tó ń gbóná lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ni. American President Donald Trump said something today that I want us to come and hear the implication of what he said. That's why I said today my people we must hear this one again. Ó ń gbóná lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ o ó ń gbóná lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Kí ni ààrẹ orílẹ̀-èdè Amẹ́ríkà tó sọ fún Nàìjíríà ìyẹn mú tẹ̀ ní ẹ̀yìn ìyẹn ti gbọ́dọ̀ gbọ́ lónìí ẹ má bínú yẹ kí n ti kí wa mo ṣe wọlé yẹn ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ká mi láàpọ̀ mo ṣe ní kọ́kọ́ sọ ná ká tó mọ̀ kíra wa ná torí owó la fẹ́ ra dátà ìyẹn mo ṣe ní ẹ má bínú o mo kí gbogbo wa o mo kí gbogbo àkú òpin ọ̀sẹ̀ ẹ ṣé gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ̀ láìkì tẹ̀ mọ́ ń ṣe ààrẹ tẹ̀ mọ́ ń pín tẹ̀ mọ́ ń sọ pé àìsàn gbádùn rẹ gbogbo yín ọlọ́ọ̀bà mi yóò mọ̀ nífẹ̀ẹ́ yín o kí láàrin orílẹ̀-èdè Amẹ́ríkà sọ he said something that it has been trending again ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ẹ ṣé Abíọ́dún Gàfárù ẹ ṣé mo rí yín you are welcome sir ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn ni wọ́n dẹ̀ ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí nígbà tó tura jáde lónìí pé èwo tún leléyìí àwọn kan ti ń sọ wípé happy weekend ẹ ṣé happy weekend ẹ ṣé you are welcome sir Abíọ́dún Gàfárù ẹ ṣé ní gbogbo ìgbà ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn ló sọ wípé Donald Trump tiẹ̀ ti ń pẹ́ jù gan wípé he supposed to have come since tọ́rọ̀ yẹn ti jáde wípé torí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ Nàìjíríà ó ti wà láti pé kí Donald Trump tètè wá mo ṣe ní ẹyẹ yẹn tí wọ́n gbọ́ nǹkan tí Trump sọ ọ̀rọ̀ ńlá ni torí mi nígbà wà lákòókò lónìí mi nígbà wà lákòókò rárá then Gumi wá tún sọ nǹkan kan ẹ ṣé mo rí yín Ramon ọlá òṣèbì kan ẹ ṣé mo rí yín ọlá òṣèbì kan kí ni Gumi sọ lónìí màá yànnà náà dáadáa ṣùgbọ́n ẹ jẹ́ n sọ Gumi sọ wípé kí wọ́n má pa tẹ́rọ́rìsì mọ́ wípé then bí Amẹ́ríkà ṣe ń sọ pé inú gbogbo àánú ìwé ìròyìn lónìí o gbogbo tí mo sọ yìí ìwé ìròyìn ti gbé ẹ ṣé mo rí yín ẹ̀bùn Yusuf ẹ ṣé you are welcome ó ní wípé gbogbo bí Amẹ́ríkà ṣe ń threaten àwọn nọ́ọ̀tì tó ń threaten Boko Haram yẹn pé ìyẹn gan ló ń bí àwọn Boko Haram nínú pé àwọn Boko Haram kì í ṣẹni téèyàn máa ń threaten àwọn bandit tó ń ṣẹni téèyàn máa ń threaten wípé kí ààrẹ Tinubu kí wọ́n lọ ṣòwò agbẹjẹmọ́wọ́ ẹ lọ wo gbogbo ìwé ìròyìn máa kà dáadáa mo ní sáré sọ àwọn highlight yẹn náà ní kọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ lè mọ̀ wípé eléyìí tá a gbé wá lálẹ́ jẹ́ nǹkan tó ní agbára àṣírí ńlá kan tó wá wà tí mo fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ gbọ́ pé ìjọba Nàìjíríà mọ̀ sí ọ̀rọ̀ bandit tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ pé ìdí nìyẹn káwọn ológun ò tiẹ̀ fi lè kápá wọn pé ẹ má wulẹ̀ tanra yín kí kálukú lọ wá nǹkan tí kó náà lọ wá ṣọ́ra ni bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kí kálukú lọ wá ìṣọ́ra kí kálukú bóyá traditional lẹ́wàá o bóyá tolóyìnbó ni o bóyá nǹkan kan ní pé kí kálukú lọ wá kí kálukú ṣe self defence kó defend ara ẹ̀ ìyẹn mo ní gbogbo nǹkan tá a tó gbéyàwó lórí ètò lónìí náà líle ẹ káàbọ̀ mú kí wa kó òpin ọ̀sẹ̀ lónìí ẹ ṣé gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ̀ ń darapọ̀ mọ́ ìkànnì ICN TV káàbọ̀ mọ́ gbára wa lákòókò ẹ já kọ́ gbọ́ nǹkan tí Trump sọ náà kí tó wá mọ́ sọ àwọn nǹkan tí analysis tó tẹ̀lé torí ìyẹn gangan ni kókó kí wá mọ́ tó sọ àwọn analysis yẹn torí ìjọba Amẹ́ríkà tó sọ wípé kì í ṣe pé àwọn fi ń ṣeré o pé àwọn sì ń bọ̀ wá Nàìjíríà pé àwọn ò ṣeré rárá àwọn ń bọ̀ làwọn sọ yẹn sẹ́ẹ̀ ìyẹn náà mo ní kẹ wá gbọ́ kẹ tún gbọ́ nǹkan tí president America sọ Donald Trump.
We give a lot of subsidy to Nigeria. We're going to end up stopping. The government's done nothing. They're very ineffective. They're killing Christians at will. And, till I got involved in it 2 weeks ago, nobody even talked about it.
Well, President Trump is reacting today to what we've been covering for a couple of weeks now, but really leaned in with my panel that I hosted at the UN at the request of Ambassador Michael Waltz. And he also invited superstar rapper Nicki Minaj, because she has a pastor who's Nigerian and has jumped into this as an advocate for those under attack. Horrific violence in Nigeria against mostly Christians, and a third mass kidnapping this week alone. So it's getting worse under President Tinubu over there. In this attack, gunmen targeted a Catholic school just days after that attack on a Christian church. Islamic terrorists in Nigeria. There are now 22 of those groups, including Boko Haram, and some of them are aligned with ISIS. They are targeting Christians and have been for years. Some experts, as well as the president, are saying that the mass slaughter needs to be contained. And you heard him here. The government now over there has to do something about this. I joined U.S. Ambassador Waltz for an event on the crisis earlier this week.
Now,
I served
in
Nigeria helping train their Navy SEALs for hostage rescues and to go find these girls.
Now, ẹ jẹ́ sáré torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn tó máa ń pè mí pé ẹ̀sìn ẹ máa tú sí Yorùbá. Nítorí bí ààrẹ Donald Trump nù ni wípé àwọn ń sọ wípé ẹ ṣé mo rí yín, ẹ ṣé. Àwọn ń sọ wípé ẹ má ṣe nǹkan mọ́, pé nǹkan táwọn ní kẹ́ ẹ má ṣe mọ́ ẹ̀ òun náà lè tún wá ra wọlé. Nítorí bí ààrẹ Trump ní tó tún fi sọ̀rọ̀ míì jáde lónìí nìyẹn o. Wípé nǹkan táwọn ń complain sí pé ń ṣe pé àwọn tẹ́ sọ pé ẹ ń pa Kìrìsìtẹ́nì, ẹ sọ pé ẹ pa Kìrìsìtẹ́nì. Ṣàmọ̀ pé ní some days ago wọ́n rán àwọn delegate kan lọ sí Amẹ́ríkà wípé ká lọ meet àwọn èèyàn kan senators àtàwọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú Donald Trump. Ìpàdé yẹn ò sì sóore. Now kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́hùn ni wípé wọ́n ní ẹ ṣé mo rí yín, ẹ ṣé Táíwò, ẹ ṣé ọ̀kẹ́ owó, Táíwò Ọláyíwọlá, ẹ ṣé you are welcome. Wọ́n ní àrùn ojú ni eléyìí. Okay now ẹ ń sọ wípé wọn ò pa àwọn èèyàn. Ṣé bóun náà làwa náà ń wò èyí tó ti wá bí wọ́n nú ni wípé ti Kwara State tó ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn ló bí wọ́n nú. Ká ní kò lọ sí fídíò yẹn ní online ni pé kí nìyẹn ò ṣẹlẹ̀ live ni. Ṣebí fún wọn bá deny wọ́n lè ní fake news ni. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ gamúdé ti sọ, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ mú ní thank God for social media. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àmọ́ wò pé àwọn blogger ni, news àwọn blogger ni, thank God for social media. Tí ó bá ṣe pé pé wọ́n fídíò yẹn ó wà live, wọn ò bá deny rẹ̀ pé kò ṣẹlẹ̀. Wọn ò bá deny rẹ̀ wípé kò sí tó jọ. Ìyẹn ló tún wá bí wọn nínú pẹ̀lú ti Kẹ́bí tó tún wá ṣẹlẹ̀ yìí. Ìyẹn ló bí wọn nínú wípé kò sí ṣíṣe kò sáì ṣe tí Amẹ́ríkà fi ló wọ Nàìjíríà wá. Ìyẹn ló tún wá bí ọ̀rọ̀ tí Donald Trump sọ lónìí against wípé àníṣe àwọn kíní ò lè gbọ́ mọ́. Ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ báyìí ó ti ń di ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ti wá di nǹkan míì báyìí. Torí ni mo ṣe ní kẹ́ fídíò tẹ́ẹ̀tù gbọ́ next yìí ẹ jẹ́ farabalẹ̀ ọ́díò ni ṣùgbọ́n fídíò yẹn ní agbára pọ̀ o torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àṣírí òun ni wọ́n tú nínú fídíò yìí lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Nàìjíríà wípé pé Nàìjíríà ò lè bọ́ ńbẹ̀ àfi tá a bá pín àfi tí kálukú bá lọ nílọ tiẹ̀ torí pé ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ kì í ṣe ìsìn ló ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ó ti wà nù plan. That is why they try to make sure that we have Muslim tickets. That is why they make sure that Tinubu come so that everything yẹn wá lè plan. Wọ́n ti jọ plan gbogbo àwọn nǹkan yẹn pátápátá. Ṣùgbọ́n kankan tó kàn mọ́ du èmi ni pé tèmi máa ń sọ lórí ètò tí máa ti ṣètò ni pé èmi mọ̀ pé bàbá Tinubu ẹ jọ̀ọ́ torí téèyàn bá lọ sí ẹ̀dẹ̀ náà lápadà sí. Tinubu jọ kí wọ́n lo opportunity tí wọ́n fi wà ń bẹ̀ sìn á ti mọ̀ pé kíní ò lè work. Everybody ti mọ̀ pé kò lè work. We already know that it cannot work. Àti rí we have already seen it. Ẹ má jẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ jù ẹ já kọ́ gbọ́rọ̀ tí bàbá ẹ̀ sọ náà. Ẹ já kọ́ gbọ́ gbogbo ara mọ̀ pé kò lè work ṣùgbọ́n kí ló dé mo máa ń sọ ẹnìkan máa ní ṣé Tinubu ló máa pé Nàìjíríà ni Yorùbá gan sọ wọ́n ní ẹnìkan ní ó di ẹnìkan ní di iyọ̀ lọ́jà ẹnìkan ní ó tu báyé ṣe wà nìyẹn. Ẹ máa ní ṣé Tinubu ló máa pín Nàìjíríà ni ẹ bá àwọn kan ló so wá pọ̀ àwọn kan náà dẹ̀ ní ó tu wa ká. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ já farabalẹ̀ ká tiẹ̀ gbọ́rọ̀ yìí dáadáa kẹ́ gbọ́ àṣírí tí bàbá yìí tú mú ni mo ṣe ní ẹ̀yin èèyàn tó bá ti wọ ètò báyìí mí níjó máa gùn àní ṣètò yẹ kó gùn jù ṣùgbọ́n ẹ gẹ́sàrí pín kákàpá ká pín dé gbogbo tó yẹ pé jẹ́ ká tún àfihàn enlighten àwọn èèyàn wa ni káwọn èèyàn lé wa lè mọ̀ wípé ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ń ṣẹlẹ̀ o ká lè mọ̀ pé yes the only thing tó lè gbà wá náà ni ká dá dúró kí Yorùbá dá dúró ni ẹ já sáré gbọ́ nǹkan tí bàbá ẹ sọ.
In order to become the president of Nigeria, nobody can argue there were deals that went on. What he did was to play them against each other. So that
you are alleging that the President Tinubu had a deal with the terrorists.
Excuse me, it is no longer a secret anywhere in the world out right now that what Nigeria is dealing with, it is both an ancient and a modern problem. And this is bigger, including religion, but bigger than religion. This is not an Usman Danfodio narrative. It's a more modern, more deadly, more intelligent Hydra, a supremacist agenda that was perfected by Osama bin Laden when he globalized
That's the only way
of religious terrorism. This is not merely a Fulani problem. It's bigger than that. There are at least about 5-6 groups that we are reckoning with. It has a head in education. It has infiltrated our security defense systems. Over the years, it has infiltrated governance. It has infiltrated media. It's a supremacist agenda that was designed to use Islam as a cover. That's why for the first 15-16 years, it was targeted only at Christians first. I told publicly that in the later years, towards the end, when they're about to strike Nigeria completely, they will start killing Muslims as well. So I said that about 10 years ago. We are dealing with something that is global, but has a local face. Its objective is to take the whole of Nigeria, not some of Nigeria. Now, it's going to use Islam and the Sharia to take Nigeria. All over the world, its tactics are different. Now, let me put it for you like this. The architecture for the intelligence behind this thing is more than the local intelligence. But they have contacted local actors. You see, there's what they call the ISWAP. The Fulani is there. Then you have the Kanuri-dominated Boko Haram. Then you have Lakurawa, Ansaru, and all those other offshoots of the global template provided by Al-Qaeda. Many headed, only one hat. And what the idea is to take Nigeria, take West Africa, take the rest of Africa, and then use that resources to dominate the world. An intelligence created by Al-Qaeda between 1991 and 1996, Osama bin Laden was in Sudan, perfecting the model of how to globalize terrorism and rule the world with Sharia. And he knew they would have to kill Muslims as well. So what we're dealing with is bigger than just a religious problem. It's a supremacist agenda covering its face with Islamic religion. Greatest weaknesses of the African nations of the world, including Nigeria, is the inability to mathematize inquiry. That is to collect statistics and data, crunch it, and then do what they call concatenation. That is to join all the dots and you start to come to a conclusion and predict things that when they happen, you will not be surprised. If you follow the media in Nigeria over the past 20-something years, there's nothing I have said beforehand that did not come to pass, including when the color of the terrorist, the color skin of the terrorist is going to change in the latter hours, when they are bringing in people from the Maghreb and they're bringing in other people from outside of our borders. So if you want evidence, I will give you some. Number one, let me give you something very simple. There's no place in the world that has responded to an already documented resurgence of global Islamism by claiming to arrest terrorists, and then you will claim that you have de-radicalized them, and then you absorb them into the Nigerian army. You see, that one alone is an amazing case of stupidity. I've never heard of this kind of madness before. An armed robber comes to your house, you arrest him, instead of prosecuting him, you claim that you have changed his mind and you now make him join your megadis. That is, of course, one. Number two, if we collate, I can tell you from the beginning, one of the things I discovered from the year 1999 to 2000 was government complicity. And why do I say so? We have reached a state now where we are not afraid of anything anymore. In those days, we are more afraid of the enemy within than the enemy without. So today, there can be documents that I will give you, will put on display. When you find out that young girls are kidnapped, married off, taken away from their husbands, I mean, sometimes young girls are kidnapped, sometimes wives are kidnapped, married off Islamically, and you will see that if someone will come, the governors were aware. I can give you a case where we had to curb a terrorist attack in Kaduna State. We could tell you the modus operandi. It started with Gumi when he came back from Mecca, when he came back from Saudi Arabia. His first tafsir in Kaduna was a call to violence, to slaughter. The VHS came to me because we have been setting up early warning systems, and this is what a real early warning system is to prevent something. When we got it, we translated it into English, and at that time it was Obasanjo who was the president of Nigeria. Thank God for the first square general overseer, who is now Wilson Badijo, who assured me that what we prepared and gave to him was given to Obasanjo in his bedroom. But what they didn't know was that we were still monitoring Kaduna to see whether the arms build-up towards the execution was going to stop. When we saw that it was not going to stop, in fact, this is a good example I'm giving you. I had to call a special strategic session with media, because media is a force expander in this new war form, this Hydra-headed war form. At that time, the man they call Additional, who became Buhari's media, whatever, was at that time an editor-in-chief or something in one of the newspapers. They gathered together, and I told them, this is the problem. They are Femi Additional. They are about to kill 600 to 900 people in Kaduna. And I said to them, we have sent all the information to the army, to all the places. There's nobody stopping them. Unknown to them, we were monitoring. The Gumi boy went into the SSS office in Kaduna laughing and came out laughing. When I got that report in Lagos, we decided to call this media meeting and said, look, how do we solve this? Now, there's a headline that we have to put up where they did as if they interviewed the head of CAN and had to interview Gumi. Immediately, we took the front pages, the full pages in the newspapers and the new media, and the news blew across the world. The queries came to the president of Nigeria. It was reported to me directly that the Gumi boy entered, then was a small boy, he entered the SSS office. At this time, he didn't come out laughing. He left the country immediately. Now, this is a guy who has been banned by Saudi Arabia. They didn't allow him to enter Saudi Arabia. Let me give you another proof. I was on television when I found out there was no other way of escape. When an Al-Qaeda operative was already appointed as a federal minister in Buhari's government. And Issa Pantami. How do I know? I supervised an evacuation in 2004 when a young Christian was slaughtered in the mosque of ATBU. That's Abaka Tafawa Balewa University. Okay? Now, when we supervised that, it was this Pantami who was a lecturer in that university at that time, who put a fatwa on certain students because they preached the gospel to Muslims in a university. And at that time, when they killed that boy, we had to go and evacuate the others whose names I spoke to them recently. They are still afraid till now. The young guys brought them into Lagos. We made arrangements to take them into other countries where there's better respect for human worth. And then Sunday Achi was the name of the student who was murdered. Okay? At that time, for you to know how this thing works, there was a bishop who was working with the Obasanjo government who went to arrange for the burial of this boy. And when I said, let us make it an issue, they at that time were cooperating because they didn't realize how dangerous this Hydra is. Later, that Hydra attacked that bishop, almost killed him, finished his secretary. Fortunately, they couldn't catch his wife. They maimed him. And today, he's one of the forefront advocates who has realized how dangerous this thing is. I could really give you many more examples. One of the former head of state who was claiming that there was nothing in his time, I was at a meeting with him in his home in Ota. When he gave me his own version of what he believed was going on, I said to him, sir, during your government, they were already building up more and more, infiltrating more and more. I said, do you remember a meeting you went to have in northern Nigeria when these things happened? When you left, they slaughtered every member of the family that entertained you. I said they were sending you a warning to back off. Now, some years later, he went for a security meeting outside Nigeria, and I think when they showed him the build-up of what is coming into Nigeria when the final phase comes, look, the Nigerian army in totality, everybody knows what the number is. The last time they engaged the BH on 3 war fronts, it took almost 2.5 weeks to overcome. So everybody realizes that if you think the Nigerian army can withstand a combined forces of what ISWAP has planned in the future, what is working for us right now is very simple. Nigeria is 220 million people strong. The number of all these people who want to swallow Nigeria, they're not even up to 450,000. Now, the strength of this is, let me break one nonsense that is going all around. And this is what we have to be careful to counsel the US government about. Anybody who looks and thinks that the Fulani is a primary problem is a joker. The Fulani is not the primary problem. All the combined forces of all these people is not up to 400 something million. Now, is it this ill-educated...
400 something thousand.
Yes. All these ill-educated, all these anachronistic human beings who are wearing loincloth all over the whole place, do you think that they are the real problem? Listen, the Fulanis have told you that they were busy using their six when people came and gave them AK-47s and took their children to go and train. Why don't we realize that it's the intelligence that is arranging logistics, that is arranging safe passage for them? I have boys in the army. We used to pray for them. When they locate the enemy position in the Nigerian army, a signal comes from Abuja that they should not attack. The signal will be delayed. After 3 hours, they tell them, now go. The Boko Haram will have left that place.
So
what more proof
are you saying that the Nigerian government is involved in what is...
What are you saying? Even Jonathan, before he left, openly said they are in my cabinet. Look, this thing has been known to collapse nations from within. So there's nothing new about what is going on in Nigeria. It's just like the architecture of thought. I would rather speak to the younger generation, the digital generation who understand programming. Because it looks as if the older generation don't have what it takes, don't have the understanding to acknowledge that there's a problem here. Come squarely. My eyes are on the president of Nigeria. Yes. Listen to me. I have nothing against him personally, but I can tell you something that is very, very clear to anybody. Now, he is an astute, consummate politician, but he doesn't realize that there's a global problem that he's dealing with. In order to become the president of Nigeria, nobody can argue there were deals that went on. And in essence, what he did was that he, more than anybody else, realized that there are many factors to the Hydra. In terms of the kinetics, apart from the Fulani, the Boko Haram, the ISWAP controlled, Ansar, Lakurawa and Co. And what he did was to play them against each other. Whether we like it or not, it is no longer a secret anywhere in the world that...
So, but what's the evidence? Some people will say...
ó lágbára o, torí àkókò wa ṣe rí pé ó lágbára báyìí. Níta ṣe pariwo náà nìyẹn pé everybody come out ká fìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan torí gbogbo àrídájú evidence tó wà on ground ti jẹ́ kó yé wa pé Nàìjíríà yóò lè work. Ẹ wọ́n ọdún tí Sowore ti ń pariwo. I watched one of his videos. He was saying that he has been in activism since 1991 or something. Is it 1991 or 1999? But ìbéèrè kan tí mi ń béèrè ni pé what has he achieved concerning this Nigeria? He was behind Abiola when they were shouting MKO, he's our man, oh, Abiola, action, Abiola, hope, 1993, Abi. Up to today. Another hope, no, that's all do. Ọ̀rọ̀ tí Gumi sọ pé ṣé gbọ́n nǹkan tí bàbá yẹn sọ pé Gumi ti wà nínú sísítẹ́ẹ̀mù yìí ọjọ́ ti pẹ́ torí pé ICC àwọn Al-Qaeda ló ń bá ṣiṣẹ́. But nobody seems to look at that side. Why tó ṣe difficult fún Nigeria government láti arrest Gumi? Ìdáhùn tí mo kàn fẹ́ kẹ́yìn èèyàn kẹ́ dáhùn ní comment section nìyẹn. Báwo ló ṣe difficult fún wọn láti arrest Gumi pẹ̀lú gbogbo this? Bí Trump ṣe sọ tiẹ̀ lónìí ni Gumi náà ti fún presidency wa lésì pé they should stop chasing and killing bandits. Wọ́n tẹ́ máa ṣe continue wípé wọ́n máa kidnap àwọn school ni. Ṣé mo pé as of today now bóyá I think it's around 47 unity schools or 104 ṣá ni wọ́n ti close down again. Kí ló dé fà ní wípé kò sí safety. Àsìkò exam dẹ̀ ló ń bọ̀ yìí. Ẹ wo àwọn parents tó ti sanwó school. because a lot of people don't tell about senior education system. Àwọn tó bá ní education system wọ́n máa understand ọ̀rọ̀ tí mo sọ yìí. Exam ń bọ̀ nsìn, they close down the school. How do you want the student? And this is first term. Tí wọ́n bá eventually close the term down bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, ṣé second time nísìn àwọn ọmọ yẹn ṣé wọ́n lè balance pẹ̀lú iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe tó bá di second term? You see the problem we are passing through. Tí wọ́n bá dẹ̀ succeed ẹ lọ kọ́lẹ̀ o pẹ̀lú àwọn ọmọ yẹn tí wọ́n gbé wọn lọ́sìn. Ẹ máa rí i pé tí WAEC bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní àbí GC bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ ẹ tún gbọ́ pọ́nà tó ń jẹ́ àwọn èèyàn gbé ẹ lọ kọ́lẹ̀. Tóró ti gbádùn mọ́ wọn sìn wọ́n ti rí i pé these are the soft targets. Soft targets. So lè bí ṣe sọ àwọn tó ń ṣe NYSC náà mo gbọ́ táwọn kan ti sọ̀rọ̀ NYSC pé ṣẹ̀pẹ́ Nàìjíríà àmì nísìn wọ́n ti ń request pé wọ́n fẹ́ recruit àwọn 24,000 pé káwọn join Nàìjíríà. Àwọn èèyàn dẹ̀ sọ pé àwọn ò join. Wọ́n láwọn ò join. If at the end of the day tí o bá láwọn èèyàn kan apply fún army ṣẹ̀pẹ́ kan wọ́n máa kọ́ àwọn tó bá lọ sí NYSC torí ẹ̀ náà là ṣe ń sọ ẹ̀yin tẹ́ fẹ́ lọ fún service àgùnbánirọ̀ NYSC. Mo gbọ́ tọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn ti sọ pé they should be posting them to their states. They should not post them to outside their state again for safety reason. But àwọn tó ń wà ní in charge àwọn kìíní ìmọ̀ reason náà tàn ṣe ń post wọn lọ sí another state. Wọ́n lè gbé yàn látọ̀ṣun kán gbé lọ sí Enugu, wọ́n gbé yàn látọ̀ṣun kán gbé lọ Zamfara, kán gbé yàn látọ̀ṣun kán gbé lọ Borno, Maiduguri, Kaduna. Tó bá wá yá at the end of the day tí wọ́n bá ráwọn èèyàn tó fẹ́ join army mọ́ tí wọ́n ráwọn èèyàn ṣẹ́gun kí wọ́n lè kó àwọn youth corps kán máa kó wọn lọ sínú ológun kán máa train wọn. Mọ̀kọ́ ilé mi àní kó lè ṣẹlẹ̀ àìsìn kó lè ṣẹlẹ̀ ṣe bí Nàìjíríà ń gbogbo wájọ wáyé. Ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀ gbọ́njọ́ kẹ́ sọ pé àìsìn dẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ yìí o. Ní ìgbà tán bá débi wípé wọn ò rí àwọn èèyàn mọ́ tó lè join army tá a ti ń láàkì personnel kò sí wọn á padà máa lọ kó àwọn NYSC lọ máa kó boy scout lọ máa kó manowar lọ ifá tó bá possible gan wọn lọ sí Keru and Seraph wọn lọ káwọn ọmọ ogun ìgbàlà àbí ká lọ Baptist ká lọ kó àwọn royal ambassador. Òótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ni òótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ bí ìsọkúsọ ló máa ń rí. Òótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ bí ìsọkúsọ ló máa ń rí because ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ti jẹ́ kó yé wa pé aṣọ ò bọ́mọ yẹ mọ́. Ọmọ yẹn ti ṣe kíni ó ti rìn òwò ọjà ọmọ yìí aṣọ òbọmọ yẹn mọ. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa náà adákẹ́ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá àṣìbẹ̀ pé kò kàn wá àti ẹ̀mọ nǹkan tá a fẹ́ mo máa ń sọ lórí ètò gbogbo ìgbà mo máa ń sọ pé àmọ́ nǹkan tá a fẹ́ gan mọ́. The handwriting on the wall ti fi hàn wípé Nàìjíríà ò lè dá. Ẹ gbọ́ inú ṣe farabalẹ̀ pé kí ẹ gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn gùn gan o torí àkókò ni mo ṣe ní kẹ́ ẹ rọra gbọ́ bí how many minutes ń bẹ̀ kẹ́ gbọ́ nǹkan tí bàbá yẹn sọ. Àwọn bàbá yẹn sọ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àṣírí pé àwọn gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì wa ṣàmọ̀ pé nǹkan tí bàbá yìí sọ yìí ṣàmọ̀ pé tó ṣẹlẹ̀ during Jonathan time ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní during Buhari time ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ìjẹta. Ẹgbẹ́ tí gómìnà yẹn ń bi wọ́n léèrè tó bí army general léèrè pé who give you the authority àbí command pé you should leave that place. They left the place 40 minutes before káwọn bandit yẹn tó débẹ̀ kan tó káwọn ọmọ school yẹn. They left that place. There was intelligence report pé wọ́n máa kó àwọn èèyàn wọ́n máa jíyàn gbé wọ́n máa wá strike níbẹ̀ yẹn and the army was stationed there and they left 40 minutes before the incident. The same process tó ṣẹlẹ̀ nígbà Jonathan náà nìyẹn nígbà Chibok there was an intelligence report. Dapchi there was an intelligence report. So all those schools tó ti jíyàn gbé the intelligence report so even ní Kwara State there was an intelligence report that they want to strike and they said the army were there but they left immediately. They left. It's not up to 1 hour before these people came. So that's sọ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ sí ń believe ẹgbọ́n nǹkan tí bàbá yẹn sọ inú mi tí ẹ máa ń dùn tí mara àwọn èèyàn náà tó ń sọ orú nǹkan táwọn náà ń sọ pé àwọn youth láyẹ ká bá sọ̀rọ̀ àwọn generation yìí àwọn digital generation ló yẹ ká bá sọ̀rọ̀ because àwọn ló yẹ kó understand kán lo importance kán lo technology tó wà lọ́wọ́ wọn sìn lò láti pé ká lè bọ́ tí ẹni tí ó ń jà pé ẹ má pa ìran mi mọ́ I want us to have our own freedom tí wọ́n bá lè fún un ní life imprisonment tán fún un ní ẹ̀wọ̀n gbére tí bandit sì ń rìn freely ẹ ti mọ̀ pé ó ti kọjá normal nìyẹn, ó ti kọjá normal o. Orílẹ̀-èdè tá a bára wa nìyẹn o, kọ́lọ́run kó ṣàánú ni o. Torí ẹ̀ lèmi ṣe máa ń sọ ní gbogbo ìgbà báyìí, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ máa bá fi sí comment section, ẹ máa bá ń share rẹ̀. Èmi ṣe máa ń sọ gbogbo ìgbà pé ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ ìkànnì àìsàn wọn ò ní jí yín gbé o, ẹ ṣàmì dáadáa wọn ò ní jí yín gbé. Ṣé ẹ rí ẹni tó bá kàn ló mọ̀ o, bá a ṣe sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ wọ́n tún já wọn kan gbé báyìí, wọ́n ti gbá wọn kan, wọ́n tún jẹ́ lòmíì gbé láàárọ̀ ọ̀la, ìfaralẹ̀ wọ́n tún já wọn míì gbé. Torí ó ti wá di bárakú báyìí, ó ti di bárakú. Ni mo ṣe máa ń ṣàdúrà fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ ìkànnì àìsàn wọn ò ní jí yín gbé o, wọn ò ní jọmọ yín gbé o, wọn ò ní já ya yín gbé, wọn ò ní jí bàbá gbé, wọn ò ní jí ìyá gbé o, wọn ò ní jẹ́ yín náà gbé o, ẹ ní dẹrù àrùká o, because ẹni tó bá kàn òun ló mọ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ tó wà tó tí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Àwọn intelligence report gangan ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ pé ní Lagos State kan wà very careful láti mú yẹn náà wá. Àmú details ẹ̀ wá, mo ṣe ń ṣe information, gather information lórí ẹ̀ ni. Ní Lagos State kan wà very careful. Because everyday làwọn trailer truck ń wọlé tán wọlé sálábà tí ó dẹ̀ sí ìyáláyẹ tó lè bí wọ́n léèrè pé bolẹ̀ tí ń bọ̀. Ẹ bá like ẹ bá pín, ẹ mọ̀ bá fi sí comment section. Kí ló tún kù ń bo ló kàn báyìí? Kí ni nǹkan tá a fẹ́ gan? Kí lè rò tí yín lórí nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀, lórí àwọn nǹkan tẹ́ ẹ gbọ́ ẹ̀, lórí ètí Gumi sọ, lórí ètí Trump sọ, lórí ètí bàbá ẹ̀ sọ, kí lè rò tí yín? Ẹ máa fi rò tí yín sí comment section. Ẹ ṣé o, kẹ́ǹkẹ́ ti sí wa ní gbogbo ìgbà. iSTV yín.